Welcome to Cinema Therapy. If you like horror content, hit that like and follow button.
Welcome to Halloween 2007 Rob Zombie's remake. This is a very interesting film. We're continuing our Halloween franchise
Marathon.
So yeah, this is a very interesting film, and also for me because I used to hate this film. Well, I kind of did hate this film. Not like high key, but low key. I've never been really a big fan of his films. But the more I rewatch this one, the more I have respect for it, and the more I kind of enjoy it, honestly. There's things here that I think over time I realized aren't that bad. This film is... The second half of this film definitely feels like they took, is where it's most obviously, a remake of the original film that John Carpenter did. But it's just like a reimagining of his script. It's like as I just called it in my more recent video, if you watch that, the Rob Zombieification of the script with some slight changes or some alterations, but it starts to kind of feel very similar to the original film. This film is more gritty and very Rob Zombie-like. There's a lot more cursing and, it feels a lot more gritty and disturbing. It shows Michael Myers a lot more as a kid. And the one thing I will say is I didn't like a lot of stuff at the household, like the Myers house, but I did think the stuff in the asylum was kind of interesting, especially kind of the concepts of psychology and seeing him kind of evolve into this kind of from this kind of angry, kind of tormented, a disturbed kid into this really eerie, just menacing figure. And I thought that transformation was very interesting to watch. It was a little slow, but if you kind of, if you're patient enough, it's interesting. We have Scout Taylor Compton, right? Yeah. Yeah, as Laurie Strode. And then you have, of course, Harris as Annie Brackett. And Brad Dourif as the sheriff. Do I like this casting for these characters? I don't know. But pretty good cast. They don't match what I would want from these characters, but I do think that they try with what they have. The actress that plays Linda is just there to me. I don't really like her. In the original,
the same with Malcolm McDowell.
Yes, I don't like
Dr.
him
Loomis.
as Loomis.
I don't like this version of Dr. Loomis.
Not at all. No. Mm-hmm. And he's even more likable in part 2. In both versions. There's 2 versions, by the way, of these 2 films, which it just offers different reasons to like or dislike these movies. It doesn't change. There's definite key changes, but they're not at the core. They just add ambiance differences and atmospheric differences, as well as transgressional plot device differences, but they don't change the overall film. It just makes the experience a little bit different, especially the first one. The second one, the differences are a little bit more significant. However, we'll talk about that one later. But yeah,
I thought, well, I went and saw this movie with my mother back in 2007 when it came out.
I was only 9.
And we were so disappointed
a lot of people were
coming out of the movie theater. Not only, I agree with you about the household stuff, the stuff with the Ronnie, and all that stuff.
It just
I just didn't like that backstory.
It was,
and the fact that the ending felt so long and dragged out.
Kind of copy
the
original.
chase scene through the house was just ridiculously long.
It was.
And I don't remember.
I didn't like the kids either in this one. No offense, but I did not like Tommy Doyle or Lindsay Wallace in this one. They just, again, I didn't really care for their. I didn't care for his character adaptations of these iconic characters.
Yeah.
I'm not trashing on the cast by any means. They did what they could. I don't understand his choice for the casting. I think a lot of these actors not necessarily fit these characters, but in general, I really like their work. I just don't see them in the Halloween universe, really, if that makes sense. They don't really of course, Harris. I love her as Jamie. I don't know if I like her as Annie per se. No offense. The only one that I can really see as Annie is Nancy Kyes or Nancy Loomis. She's my Annie. I'm sorry. I'm biased, but I love her as Jamie, not really as Annie. I do think she and Scout Taylor Compton had chemistry, not in those characters, but I do think they have on-screen chemistry. I can admit that. And I know they have a close friendship in real life. They do a podcast or whatever they do together, or they did. And Brad Dourif is iconic, and I love him as Chucky. Not really, again, as Sheriff Brackett. Again, that would be Charles Cyphers, but I'm biased, okay? I obviously love the original film. That is my one true favorite horror film of all time. If I'm gonna suggest a movie, that's gonna be like the top of my list. So that's like my number one 5-star horror film. Sue me. I know it's a popular pick, but this movie is really, honestly, though, I agree with a lot of what you're saying though about a lot of the stuff. That's kind of why I didn't like to. Upon rewatching it, I don't think this movie's as bad as I thought it was. It's just not for me. And it's not,
No.
and it's not completely original, and the original parts are not necessarily necessary, but for Rob Zombie, it's an okay film. It's okay.
I have learned that it's an okay film.
And it's not too bad. It's
Rob
just not
Zombie's
necessary.
a hit or miss.
I do think there are certain things in this movie that worked or kind of were interesting. It just,
Like,
as a
I
whole,
just don't think.
it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And then
like,
it serves into a part 2 that we didn't really want, and the only reason why it has a part 2 is spoilers. In this version, the big difference in the ending is that Annie does not die. She gets attacked, but she doesn't die. Her boyfriend
now,
is
I like
one.
that aspect.
Yeah, but it served the whole point of having a sequel, which I didn't want a sequel though.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the sequel. And I know a lot of people like the sequel. I'm about to ruin your lives when I make that video. I'm going to depress and anger a lot of people, but I actually despise Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That is my least favorite film in the franchise, so we're going to talk about that one later. But yeah, I there's reasons why I don't like that movie. I know people argue the character
But
chemistry and the character
let's
depth.
talk about it in the
but-
next video.
Yes.
This coming off of The Devil's Rejects, one of his best films
I
ever.
just don't like that much. But yes.
This movie.
It's more original.
Was just not.
Yeah, I will say
It
his
was
movies.
not a hit.
Well, and you know what the thing is? I think I will say his movies in general are not for me. I really don't care for most of his movies. I will say, though, a lot of the films he does that are original, I respect more because they're not something that are taking beloved characters and beloved movies and being redone and rehashed and made something that the fans of that concept won't like. Like The Munsters. What he did with The Munsters, I wasn't a huge fan of. Again, I think The Munsters movie was in some ways even better than this movie, but I still don't think it worked. And I don't know why no offense, Sheri Moon Zombie's okay, but I don't know why he cast his wife in almost everything.
Oh, she cannot act.
No offense, but she can't.
No.
I think she was better as Lily Munster than she was as Mrs. Myers, though. I will say that. I think her Lily Munster was okay. Doesn't touch Yvonne DiCarlo. She is amazing, but she's actually okay as Lily Munster, but I don't really like her in most everything else. But I don't want to like go on too much, but this movie is just okay. I think I had this at like number 10 out of 13. Well, number 10. Well, number 10 out of 14 now, because if you include the new fan film Halloween Aftermath, it's number 10. So, because no offense, but Aftermath is still towards the bottom. I have to rewatch it for the ending, but what I did see of it, I wasn't a big fan of, so I have to watch the ending and be a true Halloween fan and try to plunge through it like I did with some of these other ones I couldn't really get into. I will say, this is easier to rewatch than maybe one or two other films in the franchise, but it's not saying a whole lot, so it's easier to rewatch than some of these other movies I really struggled with. One of them being Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That is probably the hardest film to rewatch. It's hard to get through for me at all. I struggle getting past the first 20 minutes. So this is, I think, a 3-star movie just for the fact that it had effort, and it's really not a horrible movie, but it's not for me. I know fans of this movie, but that's my rating. So
This movie is not streaming anywhere, but it is available to rent on Apple TV or Amazon Prime or Google Play.
okay, good to know.
So you can check it out. If you have seen this movie, How Rob Zombie's version, let us know what you think. Like I said, If you like horror content, hit that like and follow button.
And watch us in more videos.
Yes, more Halloween videos coming up. Halloween 2 right around the corner.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.